Alrighty, folks, Gold Club members cashed in on 6 premium selections yesterday with the Eagles, Chiefs, overs in that Eagles game, Vegas Golden Knights in hockey, Vancouver Canucks as well, and we also hit on a 2-teamer. And I'll explain a little bit more about that Gold Club package at the end of the video. Of course, before we go ahead and move on, I'd be rude if I didn't introduce myself. My name is Brock Page. I've been dishing out free sports picks on YouTube since 2016, and just want to welcome you to our NBA free pick video here today for Monday, January 27th, 2025. Happy Monday to you. Hopefully you had a great weekend. I'll tell you what, I at least had a really good Sunday. Yesterday was fantastic. It was a good day worth of plays. But anyway, let's go ahead and dive right into our free content here, and hey, let's keep the good times coming here. First leg is in that Pistons Cavaliers game. That'll be a 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Cleveland's minus 10.5, totals 235. The Cavs are 36-9 on the year, 64% against the point spread. They've done a great job covering the number. Meanwhile, Detroit on the other side, one game over 500 themselves, 23-22 against the number. But I'll tell you what, the Pistons are having a tough time guarding the deep ball. They are 24th in the league in defensive three-point percentage, allowing 14 made three balls a game. And unfortunately for them, they're facing the best three-point shooting team in the league. Cleveland's got the highest offensive three-point percentage in the entire NBA. Darius Garland shoots 43% from beyond the arc, 41% for Mobley. And Cleveland's currently averaging an Eastern Conference best 122 points a game. Now, injury-wise, Wade, LeVert, and Okoro are out for Cleveland. Ivy inactive for Detroit. Harris is also day-to-day for the Pistons as well. Detroit saw overs in 4 out of their last 7. Cleveland went 6-1 to the over in their last 7 themselves. I like the Cavaliers minus 10.5, over 235. Next matchup, Lakers Hornets, 7 o'clock East. The Lakers are minus 5, totals 222. LA is 25-18 on the year, winning record against the point spread. Meanwhile, Charlotte's 12-30 overall, dead last in shooting from the field. And no real surprise here, folks. The Hornets are averaging only 107 points per contest. They're facing a Lakers squad who won their last 3 straight, 5-1 straight up in their last 6. And during that time frame, the Lakers allowed only 102 points a game during that stretch. Very tough to score against. Anthony Davis leads the roster in blocks, rebounds, and steals. LeBron James averages over 23.5 points a game on offense. Vincent and Hachimura are questionable for the Lakers. Martin and Mann are out for Charlotte. The Hornets went 60% to the under in their last 10. Lakers saw unders recently versus Boston, Washington, and Brooklyn. I like the Lakers minus 5, under 222. Next contest, Rockets, Celtics, 7:30 Eastern tip-off. Boston's minus 6, totals 222.5. Boston's 32-14 overall for the year, winners of 3 out of their last 4. The Celtics are currently 4th in the league in scoring, 1st in three-pointers made. They're also turning it over fewer times a game than any other team. Jason Tatum averages over 27 points a game. Jaylen Brown, 23 points per contest himself. The Rockets are currently 23rd in shooting from the field on the other side, bottom 5 in shooting from three land. The Celtics saw unders in 6 out of their last 10. Give me Boston minus 6, under 222.5. Next game, Grizzlies, Knicks, 7:30 Eastern tip-off. New York's minus 3, totals 240.5. And, of course, both teams with their fair share of scores. This is a really good matchup here, by the way. It should be a good game. But New York, I'll tell you, the Knicks are a top 5 point-producing team, 3rd in shooting from the field. And, of course, Memphis on the other side, they lead the NBA in scoring and free throws made. Now, injury-wise, Aldama and LaRavia are questionable for Memphis. Smart, Williams, and Spencer still out. Meanwhile, for the Knicks, Hart's day-to-day. Robinson still inactive. When it comes to the total, the Knicks saw overs in 5 out of their last 8. Meanwhile, Memphis went 6-2 to the over in their last 8 themselves. When it comes to selecting a winner in this one, this game is being featured as today's board member pick on my premium page. But as far as making a free play goes, I like the over 240.5. Next matchup, Pelicans Raptors, 7:30 Eastern tip-off. The Pelicans are -2, totals 233. The Pelicans are 12-34 overall, 19-27 against the point spread. Meanwhile, Toronto is currently 27-18 against the number, winners of 5 out of their last 6. And during that stretch, the Raptors played some pretty good defense for the most part. They allowed just 105 points a game during that time frame. And they're facing a Pelicans team who averages just 109 points a night themselves, bottom 5 in field goal shooting. Now, injury-wise, Murray's questionable, Jones is out. Meanwhile, for the Raptors, Pirtle, Olynyk, and Agbaji are questionable, quickly still out for them. Toronto saw overs recently versus Milwaukee, Detroit, and Cleveland. Meanwhile, the Pelicans went 6-2 the over in their last 8 themselves. I like Toronto +2, over 233. Next contest, Kings Nets, 7:30 p.m. East. Sacramento's -10.5, totals 223 and a hook. Now, the Kings have a winning record on this season. Brooklyn's just 14-32. The Nets are also on a 6-game skid, and they averaged only 90 points a game during that time frame. Brooklyn's currently the second lowest point-producing team in the league, second to last in field goals made. Meanwhile, on the defensive side, the Nets are letting their opponents make nearly 50% of their field goals against them. That is a league worst. And they're facing a Sacramento squad who's 6th in scoring, 2nd in shooting from the stripe. De'Aaron Fox averages over 25 points a game. Domantas Sabonis makes 47% of his 3 balls. And at the moment, the Kings are mostly healthy. No significant reports on that injury list. Meanwhile, for Brooklyn, Simmons, Thomas, and Watford are questionable. Johnson and Bogey are out. The Nets saw overs recently versus OKC, Portland, and Utah. Meanwhile, Sacramento went 8-2 to the over in their last 10. I like the Kings -10.5, over 223 and a hook. Next game, Hawks T-Wolves, 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Minnesota's -11, totals 218. Minnesota's 3 games over 500, but they do have a losing record against the point spread. They're just 18-27 against the number, failed to cover in 5 out of their last 8. The T-Wolves are a bottom 10 point-scoring team, 25th in field goals made. They're facing an Atlanta squad who's rebounded well on offense. They're currently 9th in offensive boards, 2nd in free throws made. Clint Capella snags nearly double-digit rebounds a game. Dyson Daniels averages 13.5 points per contest. Now, Young and Hunter are questionable for the Hawks. Johnson and Zeller still out. Meanwhile, for Minnesota, DiVincenzo and Shannon, they are both still inactive. The T-Wolves went 6-2 to the over in their last 8. Atlanta saw overs recently versus Phoenix, Utah, and the Clippers. I like the Hawks +11, over 218. Next game, Wizards Mavs, 8:30 p.m. East. Dallas is -12, totals 230.5. Now, the Mavs are a couple of games above 500 right now. Washington just 6-38. The Wizards haven't won a ball game in a real long time, and they are the 2nd worst field goal shooting team in the NBA. They're facing a Dallas squad on the other side who's 7th in defensive field goal percentage, 8th in 3 balls allowed. Of course, on the offensive end, the Mavs are doing a nice job getting to the foul line. Actually, 3rd in the league in free throws made, 7th in field goal percentage. Now, injury-wise, the Mavs are banged up at the moment. Not going to deny that. Got a handful of guys on that injury report. Marshall, Powell, Kleba, and Lively still out. Doncic still inactive as well. Meanwhile, for Washington, Brogdon, Bagley, and Bey, they are inactive. The Wizards did see overs recently versus Golden State, Phoenix, and Minnesota. Meanwhile, Dallas saw overs in their last 3 straight themselves. I like the Mavericks -12, over 230.5. Next game, Bucks Jazz, 9 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Milwaukee's -8.5, totals 236. The Bucks are 8 games over 500. Utah's just 10-33. More recently, the Jazz lost their last 5 straight. They allowed 125 points a game during that time frame. Meanwhile, Utah's also dead last in steals on defense, dead last in defensive turnovers. And they're facing a Milwaukee squad who won 8 out of their last 10 themselves, 70% against the number during that span. They also put up a bunch of points over the past month. They've averaged over 121 points a game in their last 10 outings. Giannis Antetokounmpo is the club leader in scoring and rebounds. Dame Lillard averages over 25 points a night as well. Milwaukee's currently the second best three-point shooting team in the league. When it comes to the injury report, Portis and Green are questionable for the Bucks. Collins, Williams, and Juzang questionable for Utah. Clarkson is also still out. The Jazz went 5-1 of the over in their last 6. So did the Bucks. I like Milwaukee minus 8.5 over 236. And with that, folks, we're going to jump into our next and final breakdown for the video. Going to be in that Clippers-Suns game, 9:30 Eastern tip-off. The Clippers are minus 1.5. Totals 224 and a hook. Both teams with their fair share of unders recently. The Clippers games went 60% to the under in their last 10. Meanwhile, Phoenix saw 6 out of their last 10 stay under the total themselves. Ryan Dunn's out for the Suns. Christy Miller and Chris Dunn inactive for Los Angeles. I like the under 224.5. And with that, folks, now it's time for our quick pick recap. I like the Cavaliers minus 10.5 over 235. Lakers minus 5 under 222. We're 3-0 in our last 3 NBA tier package plays on my premium page. I like Boston minus 6 under 222.5. Give me the over 240.5 in that Grizzlies Knicks game. Toronto plus 2 over 223. I have no free pick available for you in that Magic Heat game. Kings minus 10.5 over 223 and a hook. Atlanta Hawks plus 11 over 218. No free pick available for you in the Nuggets Bulls game. Mavericks minus 12 over 230.5. Bucks minus 8.5 over 236. Give me the under 224.5 in that Clippers Suns game. With that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my premium page. And if you do end up getting a membership here today on my premium site, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships during that time frame, absolutely free. Going to be included with your membership. That's why we tell folks that Gold Club package, it's a full access, all-inclusive membership. Gives you access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. But most importantly, folks, got to thank you for joining me right here on the free video. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, folks, happy Monday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my premium page.